Hello dear friends, Patrick here. I'd like to welcome all of you to the Vortex Rising Reflection Series. In today's episode we're going to be reflecting on the video entitled Align Yourself One Choice at a Time. If you haven't seen the video, check the video description down below. I'm going to add a link there for you guys. And I suggest you watch it before watching this just so you can get a frame of reference for what we're going to be talking about today. So with that, let's get on with it. I thoroughly enjoyed this segment because while it initially started out as a question about relationships and relationships with other people, it eventually focused in and they delved deeper into the most important relationship of all, and that's the relationship that we have with ourselves. So Abraham brought up some excellent points that we should all really look at within ourselves and some key understandings that help ground these concepts in our lives. So with that, let's reflect on some of these key points. So they began this segment with a great question that we should all ask ourselves, and that's why we introduce a topic of resistance when we seek alignment and to be resistance free. And they go on to mention that it's somewhat of a human trait that we were brought up with. In a way, it's our orientation. When there's something that we don't like that's going on, we tend to focus on it, hoping that our focus on the topic will make it better, but not knowing that it's just creating more resistance because we're looking at something that's bringing up that feeling of resistance within us. In a way, when people are confronted with a problem, the tendency is to wrestle it to the ground and solve it, but instead, it just gets bigger and looms over us. So they suggest to diffuse the resistance about the subject, and the way to do this is to stay off the subject in general. Now, most of us have a tendency to want to talk about our problems until we feel better. Thinking that the more we vent out, the better it's going to be, but in reality, that's not really how it works. The more we focus on it, the greater the resistance is that we build up around it. They brought up another great point here where they said that having that relationship with yourself at your fingertips at all times gives you access to bring in anything and everything that you want in your life. They then encourage us that this may be the relationship that we want to foster first before going out and looking out there for other people to complete us, to fill that void in our lives. They then mention that they see that it's no problem selecting from the universe what it is you want, putting it out there and doing the step one process of desiring things. Though the part in this that most people find difficult is that they don't know that they can actually have it. Then the questioner goes on to say that there's resistance about the topic, in which Abraham brought up another great point, where they said the reason he thinks that he can't have those things that he desires is because he's basing it on the things that he currently has or has had at some point in his life. There's a tendency to think that suffering and sacrifice is needed to get what you want. This bolsters the belief that if you don't get what you want, then that means you're not suffering or sacrificing enough. It's this line of thinking that perpetuates the whole concept of struggle and suffering, even though it's contrary to the universal laws and the way things work. Suffering can't lead to happiness. There's no way to suffer your way into joy. It just doesn't happen that way, since both emotions are so far apart from each other in the vibrational scale. There's this belief among humans that they aren't worthy. This is understandable, seeing how many are raised with the programming of believing that they are sinners. They believe that they have done something wrong, and because of that, they believe that they aren't worthy of the ease and grace that's prevalent across all of creation. So Abraham and Esther suggest to shift that orientation into the belief that you can be, do, or have anything that you want. They suggest to take control of your programming, that conscious part of yourself, and recognize that you are worthy. We are all worthy to experience the great things in life. Your inner being is that part of yourself that knows everything about you. It hears all your hopes and dreams. It knows all your desires, wishes, and imaginations. It has experienced it all in the vortex. And it's waiting for you to let it in, to allow the greatness and all that you want in your life. It's waiting for you to release that resistance, and once you're resistance free, then all you've ever dreamed about can start making its way into your life. So then, The question is, how do we know when we're in tune with our inner being? And the answer to that is simple. It's when you feel joy. When you feel goosebumps and the things just work out. It's when things happen for you instead of to you. It's when you allow yourself to feel satisfaction in everything around you, and you're in that step 5 place where you may have contrast in your life, but it's okay because you know that everything you want is coming to you, and having that contrast is just another part of allowing you to experience more of who you truly are. So, in conclusion, the way that we align ourselves to our inner being is by one choice at a time. Each choice brings us closer and closer into alignment with ourselves until there's no more separation between the two. So that we ask, what choices are you making? Is it bringing about the joy and satisfaction in your life? If not, then that may be something that you want to consider. To only make choices that bring you joy. Please share your comments and thoughts down below. And until next time, for Vortex Rising, this is Patrick signing out. Have a great day, everybody.